What's trending this week in the Vatican? Join us right now as we bring you the inside story on the top 3 Vatican stories of the week. The world's smallest army welcomed 34 new recruits. But before swearing their allegiance to protect Pope Francis and his successors, the Pope issued them this challenge: to swim against the current. In the days leading up to the swearing-in ceremony, the 34 new Swiss Guard recruits have a busy schedule. The morning of the ceremony, the Guards started the day with a special Mass. Following the Mass, the recruits and their families held a private audience with Pope Francis, and he took this time to reflect on the important service the Guards perform at the Vatican.
Questo giorno giunge per me sempre atteso e gradito, perché mi offre l'occasione di esprimere pubblicamente il mio grazie per la presenza e il servizio della Guardia Svizzera. Dimostrate un alto livello di motivazione e di volontà di servire, e anche questo mi rallegra molto. Buoni rapporti tra di voi.
The Pope encouraged the young men to cultivate a strong community life during their 2 years of service.
Oggi è diffusa tra i giovani l'abitudine di trascorrere il tempo libero da soli, con il computer o il telefonino. Pertanto dico anche a voi, giovani guardie, andate controcorrente.
Pope Francis then extended a blessing in Latin to everyone present.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater, Filius, Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.
And to finish the audience, the Pope joked about having to greet each new Swiss Guard and their families in his wheelchair.
Ma mi scuso che devo farlo in carrozza reale, perché i ginocchi non mi permettono farlo a piedi come mi piacerebbe farlo, ma lo farò uguale.
The Guards took a quick group photo with the Pope before preparing for their swearing-in ceremony. It's been a busy few months for the Vatican's Doctrine of the Faith office. First, releasing the controversial document Fiducia Supplicans and its counterpart, Dignitas Infinita. Now, the office is scheduled to publish yet another declaration, but this time on a completely different topic. This is the third document in 5 months to be published by the dicastery headed by Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez. After Fiducia Supplicans and Dignitas Infinita, the Doctrine of the Faith will issue new norms for apparitions and supernatural phenomena on May 17th. The text will be presented at a press conference at the Vatican. The prefect, together with the person in charge of the doctrinal section of the dicastery, will be present. Pope Francis has spoken on these phenomena on several occasions. For example, on his return from Fatima in 2017, where he spoke about the apparitions at Medjugorje.
Le prime apparizioni, che erano ragazzi, l'informe più o meno dice che si deve continuare a investigare quello. Le apparizioni, le presunte apparizioni attuali, l'informe ha i suoi dubbi. Io personalmente sono più cattivo. Io preferisco la Madonna Madre, nostra Madre, e non la Madonna capo di ufficio telegrafico che tutti i giorni invia un messaggio a tal ora, e questa non è la mamma di Gesù.
Marian apparitions and supernatural phenomena can be controversial and are very topical. For example, in March, the bishop of an Italian diocese discouraged devotion to a statue of Our Lady allegedly weeping blood. The Vatican has also issued warnings against some alleged Marian apparitions and miracles. The Pontifical International Marian Academy has already expressed its concern.
We
Mariologists are very concerned about a growing worldwide phenomenon, pseudo-apparitions.
Many alleged messages, as we are seeing, are negative. They generate fear and terror, and this is not the image of God that Jesus taught us.
The last document published by the Doctrine of the Faith on this subject was in 1978. It was titled Norms for Proceeding in the Discernment of Alleged Apparitions and Revelations. We're gearing up for the Jubilee of 2025, which will begin in December. But just how did this tradition of holy years start? To understand the history, we need to go back more than 700 years and meet Boniface VIII, the Pope who will forever be known as the man who celebrated the first Jubilee. Before each Jubilee year, the Pope makes a special proclamation.
Oggi, nella vigilia della seconda domenica di Pasqua, davanti alla porta santa della Basilica di San Pietro, consegno gli arcipreti delle basiliche papali ad alcuni rappresentanti della Chiesa sparsa nel mondo e ai protonotari apostolici.
This announcement is known as a papal bull of indiction. It comes with an official document, typically written in Latin. Bull refers to the ball used to bind Vatican documents. It uses a papal seal made from wax, lead, or gold. The document officially proclaims the upcoming Jubilee, stating the start and end dates of the year. But the Catholic Church did not invent the idea of Jubilees. Rather, they built upon the tradition of the Jewish people. Every 50 years, the Jubilee was a year meant to help re-establish better relationships with God and others. During this time, debts would be forgiven, slaves freed, and land taken returned to its owners. It wasn't until the year 13 AD that the first recorded Catholic Jubilee occurred, and it began in a very unlikely way.
Bonifacio e la Curia.
Boniface and the Roman Curia were confronted on Christmas Eve of the year 1299 with a strong presence of people asking for the centenary celebration. Both citizens and non-citizens were present. They were surprised. It was an unusual request, but the Pope did not want to waste the opportunity of the great centenary, the centenary year of the birth of Christ.
But popular piety was not the only motivation behind this special year. Another theory is that Boniface VIII declared this Jubilee to solidify his claim to the papacy following the resignation of Celestine V in 1294. This was the first time a pope had resigned, and it led some to think that Boniface was not a legitimate successor. To protect himself, Boniface imprisoned his predecessor in a castle outside of Rome.
Gli venne promesso a Celestino.
Celestine V had been promised that he would be able to return to doing what he did before he was pontiff, that is, to be a hermit, to be able to live alone in the mountains in complete freedom. But this was not possible because the enemies of the church would take advantage of him and use him as a tool.
At the same time, organizing a religious event such as the Jubilee also had political consequences, because it would mean reinforcing the authority of the Pope in the eyes of the European kings. With both the popular piety and the political motivation, Pope Boniface VIII inaugurated the first Jubilee in history in 1300 with these words: "I grant complete indulgence to all Christians who travel to Rome to visit the grand sanctuaries of St. Peter and St. Paul." And with this coming year dedicated to hope, Francis will celebrate the second Jubilee of his pontificate, 725 years after Pope Boniface VIII. That's it from us at Rome Reports for this week. Join us again next time as we see what's trending here in the Vatican.